I'm going to play Infinite Fusion, but this time I'm going to use Torterra fusions only. The last time I played Infinite Fusion, I ended up playing as Ash Ketchum, and Ash had a Torterra that had some very cool fusions. So I thought, why not do a run with them? So I've read up a whole bunch of Turtwig and created a new game plus so that we can use all the Turtwigs in this box. This will be a hardcore Nuzlocke, so all hardcore Nuzlocke rules apply, but one little thing I did add is that everything is going to be completely random. Do I think I can beat it? No, absolutely not. This game loves throwing curveballs at me, especially in randomized mode, but hey, a guy can try. So without further ado, let's fuse some Turtwig. I love how Sinnoh starters just appear out of their Pokeball, and they even move around. Of course, I'm going to choose Trusty Turtwig, which by the way is my favorite of the Sinnoh starters. Let me know which one is your favorite. And blue is gonna fuse Chimchar and Piplup, which is super cute. Now like always, I did lose that fight, but we don't have Pokeballs left, so the Nuzlocke hasn't technically started. Also, I haven't even fused yet, so how could it count? Speaking of which, our first encounter is going to be a Pineco on Route 1. Could be an interesting fusion. By the way, I can only use custom fusions or potential custom fusions. So I already know what these Pokemon will fuse into. Pinetwig doesn't have any custom sprites right now, but that'll change in the future. On the route left of Viridian, I found a Pidgey, and this is pretty darn ugly, but at the same time, I find it cute, so I'll cherish it forever. I did kill a Rattata on Route 2, but I mean, that could have totally been fodder. Moving on to Viridian Forest, I actually found a Meryl, so now all we have to do is hope this thing has huge power. Yeah. It didn't. And to make things worse, this doesn't have a custom sprite until it reaches its full potential, so that sucks. Now we did have a threat with the first bug catcher we ran into in Viridian Forest with his 3 Bit of fusions. Thankfully, Bipip didn't have damaging moves, but it did have Synthesis, and my Pokemon only have Tackle and Water Gun. Plus, I have Self-Destruct on this guy. Like, this is a Nuzlocke, good sir. Now, the good thing about Infinite Fusion is we can get one more encounter before taking on Brock, since there's no one blocking the way to Route 3. Oh, come on, no, I already have a Pidgey. At least it has a custom sprite, even though you are ugly. Okay, I might have lied. If we do defeat Blue on the route next to Viridian, we actually get access to the Secret Forest. It's a risky battle, but I do have 4 Pokemon now. It was indeed risky, as his first lead was a Pikachu and Joltik fusion, but it never ended up using Thundershock, and Pipchar only used Ember once, so we also got lucky there. With Blue defeated, I headed back to Route 1, and right here is a little clearing to a very little forest. And my encounter for the Secret Forest was Ghastly. That's actually amazing. I managed to catch it without damaging it, and now it was time for some fusion. Lo and behold, Gastwig. You guys are in for a treat on this one. Well, maybe in for a treat. Brock is a Fire-type master, which means we might get burned to a crisp. Now, thankfully, I do have Matwig, who has not only Water Gun, but Rollout. Brock actually leads a Pokemon he has, Vulpix, and I must say Smeargle fusions are great, but they're no match for my ugly Matwig. Unless, of course, you roar me out. Oh no. I did bring Turtu with me as I felt she'd be the most useful. It seems to be true, as I used Hypnosis to put this thing to sleep, and back out to Matwig we go. With it staying asleep for one more turn, and us outspeeding the following turn, 2 rollouts took it out. Slugtortle was out next, but it didn't do any damage, so 2 more, and we've obtained our very first gym badge. Also, Slugtortle was such a good design. Sorry, Rock, Arceus blessed me with the one Pokemon that could defeat you. Moving on to Mount Moon, I ran into a Vulpix, and this one is actually super cute, and it has 2 different fusions, but I like the first one more. I actually ran into some random Rocket Grunt with a Gibble and Trapinch fusion, and I just know this thing has Dragon Rage, and Ghastly is just at 40 HP, so I immediately switched into Turco, and yeah, I knew that was coming. We did live, obviously, and then we got a crit Razor Leaf, but it wasn't enough to KO, but then we used Sand Tube. And oddly enough, even with the extra damage at the end of the turn, Turco didn't die. How you made it out alive, I have no idea, but that was amazing, buddy. I did realize mid-switch that Meowthcoth might have Bite, and it did, but luckily it didn't KO us. Other than that little hiccup, the rest of Mount Moon went pretty smooth. Well, except for these criminals experimenting on Pokemon in a cave. On Route 4, I ended up finding a Bonsly, which is great as Sudowoodo and Torterra have amazing fusions. On the other hand, it seems everything that fuses with Turtwig is ugly. Poor guy. Now luckily at level 15, he learns Mimic, and this is way cuter in my opinion, but it's definitely short-lived, as at level 18, all of our Turtwigs evolve into Mighty Grottles. First off, we have Sutottle, which I really like. Grohoot reminds me of an Angry Bird. Voltol is probably my favorite. I love the pink bushes on the back. And finally, Gasol, which honestly didn't change much. Oh, and these 2 losers. With this, we took on Blue, and he wasn't too difficult. His Pipferno did scare me, but a nice Razor Leaf Quick Attack combo, and that was dealt with. Other than that, he had some pretty mediocre fusions. Wugma is definitely my spirit Pokemon. Comment Wugma gang if he's yours. Chicolia is honestly great. The hair made out of leaves is genius. Alright, enough praising random trainers Pokemon. It's time to fight Misty, the ground type trainer. Oh, this should be a piece of cake. Q-Orb didn't stand a chance, and although Magshrew didn't either, I gotta give Misty props. This is a cool few. Okay, never mind, I take that back. It sucks. A lot. Well, I'm glad I prepared by bringing Azumarill, and this could have been a wipe. But seriously, Misty? Seriously? After defeating Misty, we now have access to Route 5, and we ended up finding a Bagon. I'm not even going to fuse this right now, as it won't be anything until it reaches its full potential. And oddly enough, on the next route, I found a dino, which just so happens to be the same route I caught a dino in my other run. Unfortunately, this thing does have Dragon Rage, and I wasn't able to get it in a Pokeball, so that encounter didn't end up working out. Diglett's cave was actually Shedinja's cave, and this actually has a nice fusion. Wonder Guard is also a pretty broken ability for fusions. And finally on Route 11, we found a Sandshrew, which won't add a new typing, but fuses great with Turtwig. Finally, Turtwig fusions that are adorable and not ugly. And Growslash was pretty cute as well. With our somewhat new team, I took on Blue once more, and this time he leads Dragomander. I would love one of these as a pet. Seems like a great companion. Luckily, I did have the Dig TM from Misty, so that was a nice one-shot, and Prinferno did have Flame Wheel, but it didn't do much, so 2 digs did the trick. Alright, I'll give it to you. Ponta is pretty freaking dope, man. Crazy how 3 of his Pokemon were weak to ground-type moves, though. Let it all out, Cap. I can't have you vomiting with worldly threats approaching Earth. Oh wait, wrong Cap. My bad. Looks like Lieutenant Surge is an Ice-type gym leader, which is bad, but thankfully we're getting rid of all these threats right now. I guess your Thick Fat ability is going to make Ice resisted instead of neutral. Of course it would be useful. Just to rub it in my face. Now luckily I do have 3 fusions that can do the most against Ice types, but Lieutenant Surge starts with a Smoothie, so I don't know if there's anything I really need to worry about. Well, except for Sing. And just when she woke up, she hit it once more. Now I was able to roll out twice for the KO, but unfortunately Azumarill did miss on Suicune. Thing did have Acid Spray, and another one would take us out, so I had to switch Sutaro on one. With that, 1 Rock Tomb did the trick, and 2 did the trick against Clefcell, and even after his Citrus Berry. Yeah, that wasn't a very hard gym at all. Thank Arceus. From here I realized I didn't grab a bike voucher, and this guy was charging me 100 grand. Well, to be honest, I thought it was $1 million, so that seems like a deal to me. Really? No, you dunce? Aw, never thought I'd say aw to a Jigglypuff, but this is awesome. Die. I gotta be honest, this past couple of encounters, I haven't really seen anything too crazy. A house pet. Seriously? Alright, this is pretty dope, I'm not gonna lie. I swear, sometimes the first stagers are the best type of fusions. Imagine this little guy walking around your house. Honestly, Beedrill isn't too bad. Definitely better than the Butterfree I caught, and this is somehow more frightening than if Beedrill was just straight up flying to you. I don't even think this thing would fly, it would just charge towards you. This is definitely cooler though. For some reason it turns into Ariados. Of course I have Shed-Toll, so I don't really need it, but it was nice to see. From here I went to go fight Blue, who has a Gasblade. We're not a ghost type, so Shed-Toll with Wonder Guard here should be fine. And I was right, as he went for a Sucker Punch. 2 Shadow Sneaks later and Prinferno is out. I definitely didn't want to risk anything, so I swapped in a Azumarill. I used Rollout thinking it was a fire type, but it was actually a fighting type, and thankfully it was far from a hard hitter, but I almost shit myself when I saw Suicune out. A Rollout did end up doing a chunk, and the following turn he just went for Rain Dance as I went for a Razor Leaf KOing it. Why Blue had that, I have no idea, but it probably used Rain Dance for Smear Bro. And Shed-Toll walled this thing and eventually took it out. Is it even right to say wall? Because we're not really taking damage, we're just immune. I hope I get a Suicune in one of these routes. On the route left of Lavender, I ended up finding a Caputo, and that's definitely way better than what we've been finding. But this also won't be used until it reaches its final form. And probably following that trend, I ran into a Larvitar, and hey, you can't complain with a Larvitar. Now this thing was definitely scary to catch, but thankfully a bite didn't KO and we did catch it in a Pokeball. We are definitely investing with this one, guys. Pyukumuku and Grotto is pretty basic, but I guess it beats Azumarill. Unfortunately, Voltold does lose that custom sprite as a Ninetale, but that should be fixed in no time. This is the weirdest set of fusions I think I've ever seen. Alright, I'm not resisting, I swear. I totally forgot Torterra evolved at level 32. I swear it was 36. This is great. Now we have Pseudo-Terra. Oh yeah. Aw, look at the little Vulpix. Most Torterra fusions do this with the Prevos. Now I think Nocterra is a reference to something, so please let me know in the comments, but a flying ground type is definitely welcome on the team. Oh, this looks 10 times better than what we had before. Aw, there's little shit ninjas. I didn't even notice at first, they're so pixelated. Pyukumuku, you got very short-lived. And this is because Azumarill is now Azumaterra. It's simple, but it works. Brawlic body and such a tiny head. And finally, Growslash is... okay, I think I liked it before. But hey, one bad one out of everything we just got, I don't think we can complain. Now, I'm not going to use Beedrill, but I do just want to show you guys the demon that is Beedrill. Infinite Honey Glitch. And the reason I'm not going to use Beedrill is because of Pineco. This is such a cool design. And it gets even better with Forretress. Or should I say Forretree. You know, because Torterra has a tree on its back. Actually, no. Both Forretress fusions don't have trees on their back. And yes, I did say both. He has two, and they are both amazing fusions. I think they're references, but yeah. Huh, wait, that is a tree. I will say I do think Torterra looks better. Let me know which one of the two you guys like. I realized in the Giovanni fight that I have no more grass types. Oops. But we were okay for the fight despite me basically keeping Azumaterra out for shits and giggles. But he was okay. No need to worry, guys. What I do need to worry about is this Piplup I ran into in the Pokemon Tower. It used Bide and I damaged it a ton, but luckily with Wonder Guard I was able to be immune to that. However, half my Pokemon are ground types, so Bubble Beam was still an issue. Thankfully, Azumaterra held off long enough for a Great Ball to do its thing. Turtwig and Piplup is really cute, but of course we're rocking with the big boys. So we get the option of either a four-legged Pokemon or a bipedal Pokemon. Safe to say bipedal wins in this case, and this one happens to be the grass water type, whereas the other one is a steel ground. And we do not need another ground type. Now, if we do want to use Torleon here, I do have to go beat Erica first, which should be no problem as she is a normal gal. Okay, that is anything but normal. What is that? Two of her Pokemon were very small and weren't threats at all, but then Dundactyl came out. Didn't think Dunsparce could look so terrifying. With Pseudoterra on our side, there's absolutely nothing to worry about. This thing's a monster. No, wait, that is a monster. What the fuck? Well, Ninetera is dead. This thing isn't even fully evolved. And to make things worse, Torleon nearly died to Pin Missile. Thank God for Rock Slide or this could have been trouble. Bro, what are these fusions right now? Clearly Route 14 is trolling me as it showed me a Vulpix as my encounter and right after Jigglypuff. This looks like a Roblox character. Finally, a decent encounter. I know you guys don't see it, but I don't show everything I encounter because some of them are just bad. I don't have a Turtwig, but I do want to show you Turtlet. Where were all these cute Turtwigs when I needed them? All I had was babies that I would just return to the hospital. That's a joke. I would never return my kid to the hospital. Can you even do that? Unfortunately, Golett is not usable yet as it does evolve at level 43, but there is a great chance it'll be on the team. Jesus, they made that tongue long on purpose. They knew what they were doing with the sprite. Yo, is this Candyland? This is awesome. Okay, I'm scared. Slacking Run might be a good idea. What are your thoughts? Now, not all Torterra fusions need to be super aggressive with the spikes. No, Raichu has a different choice of fusion. Great choice replacing his electric sacks with the spikes. I just want to give him a big hug. Moving on to our next gym fight, we find out he's a dragon type master. I can totally see it. Now I did bring Azumaterra back as it does get access to the move Play Rough, and this could be good as this Play Rough might be quite effective against Krakogon. Okay, it's definitely not, and it definitely put up a fight, but we did come out on top. Up next was Drainair, and it looks like we got some cat-dog shenanigans going on here. Oddly enough, one single Play Rough did the trick. Azumaterra did end up leveling up and learning Synthesis, so I did teach him that and healed as Koga used Agility. By the way, Wiggly Knight is kind of awesome. Who would have known? This thing was still rocking that Dragon Rage, and a Play Rough didn't quite KO, and to be more annoying, he switched into this, which has some very animated eyes. He didn't quite die either, but it was safe to say that Koga didn't exactly pick the best dragons he could have this time around. I wouldn't be surprised if he learned all he knew about dragons from Lance. With the level cap opening up once again, I could evolve Golett into Golurk, and this means we can now use Torlurk. I don't know what this is from, but man does it look dope. One of the more unique fusions. I do have to get rid of Nocterra or Shedterra, and to be honest, Wonder Guard has proven very useful off camera, so Nocterra, I'm sorry. Ponlax reminds me of Appa with the armor in that one episode. Holy crap, this is the best fusion I've seen all run. Please let me know what this is. Bro's hair is gorgeous. Now before we take on Giovanni and Silph Co, I had to fight Blue and I was severely underleveled. So much so that this Ninetales weakened Pseudoterra easy. And Empofisk definitely could have hurt my team. Thankfully this thing was missing like crazy and allowed Torchu to kill it. It didn't look like Beemander had any fire type moves, so I went into Forterra and 2 Earthquakes demolished that. But then Prinferno came out. I knew from previous fights that Prinferno is a fighting type, and I don't think he used any fire type moves last time, so I ended up switching into Torlurk, and lo and behold, Blue used close combat. Ha! I'm a ghost type, buddy. It turns out it did have Fire Spin, but it didn't do much, and it also missed one, so 2 Shadow Punches later, and that was down as well. Nidoros did have Intimidate, and hoping it doesn't have moves that are super effective against Shedterra, I switched into that. See, this is why I kept Shedterra, because it's a free switch and a free kill if I plan it right. I can't believe I won that being so underleveled. I seriously don't understand how you can become a gym leader, Blue, if all you do is follow me around. Now, Giovanni was not off to a good start. He has water types. So I immediately switched into Torleon on a Hydro Pump. Now luckily they were using Curse and taking damage, and with my Razor Leafs this ended up taking out the Milotic fusion and doing damage to Garotane. If it wasn't for the potion he used earlier, this thing would have been dead already, but what can you do? Now the good news was Goligator came out, but the bad news was he switched. Jeez, what is that? I felt Torlurk was a good switch, and I was right as we're immune to Chip Away. Now, I couldn't do much with Torlurk, but he did do some chip to Goligator, and Blue's Amphofisk finished it with a Thunderbolt. Garotane actually happened to be a Psychic type, so Shadow Punch took that out right there. And now only the left side was left. Only the left side was left. That's kind of funny. I have no idea what Ratreon is fused with. I think it's Umbreon, but this was a pathetic choice for an ace, Giovanni. Well, at least we survived all of that without a single death. Well, guys, it looks like we have another normal type at gym leader. Maybe Erica and Sabrina have been hanging out together lately. Sabrina's first Pokemon was Dunlade, and on a potential fighting type move, I went into Torterra, but it just went for Faint. I figured it was a psychic type, but no. It was fighting, so after hitting a pathetic crunch, we went for the kill with Earthquake. After this, Dugigas came out. So already, Sabrina is the better normal type gym leader. The only thing I think Dugigas can hit me with is Will-O-Wisp, but I doubted it had it, and I was correct. Another foe dies without being able to attack me. Miss Monty is actually sick. Again, the only thing here would be Will-O-Wisp, and it didn't have that, but she did end up switching into Pori Slash. AI loves to randomly switch, so I didn't think this had anything either, and I was again correct. She ended up switching to sack Miss Monty, but it didn't matter as this fight was all wrapped up. Torterra, you are absolutely broken. With another gym badge down, I went over to the next couple of routes before Cinnabar Island and found a Magmortar. I don't know what this is going to turn into, but I totally sacked Raichu for it. No regrets. Not even one letter. Okay, maybe a little. Why does it have two different legs? Well, I mean, we are probably going to get rid of Torchu anyways. And with the level cap raised, we can now have Salataire. He's alright. Oh man, I didn't know Sudowoodo had a Ninja Turtle variant. That's awesome. Might as well turn Salataire into Bowser as well. Aw, I'm an idiot. I forgot that Sandslash had a dope reverse fusion. So screw Torterra and hello Santerra. Oh, and this isn't what I'm talking about. No, it's this. I have no idea what it is, but it's a straight monster. I knew there was a reason I put Sandslash on the team before. Now, I'm not going to use Crobat, but I just thought all the little critters on the dead tree were a nice touch. I did find a Crocodile on the route above Cinnabar, but this is not really what I expected. The face doesn't even look like it's custom. It looks like it would just be a polished up version of what the normal sprite would look like. Now, the reason I'm fusing Macargo is because Blaine is an ice type gym leader, and I have a lot of Pokemon that are weak to that. Also, I swear someone else was an ice type gym leader. Wasn't it Lieutenant Surge? Why are there so many duplicate typings? I will say the reverse fusion is great as well. I did bring Magmortar as well for Blaine. Blaine starts off with a No-Stir, and that looks very inappropriate. Now this thing is obviously ice and rock, so my best play is just to Earthquake as it is stab, and after 3, thanks to a potion, that's out of here. Mamrath is out next, and this looks so weird with the tusks. Now this thing could be ice fighting or ice water, and I thought it was fighting, so I went for Lava Plume instead of Rock Slide, and I was indeed correct. Lucky burn too. Now, I definitely should have healed before I KO'd, but it's okay as Magterra isn't exactly on the team. Starkuno! I sent out our other Magterra, and this is when I realized they were both named Magterra. That's pretty funny. But yeah, this could be Ice Water or Ice Psychic, so I either have to choose Flamethrower or Giga Drain. It did confuse me, and I hit myself. However, the following turn, we found out that it was indeed a Water type, which is alright, as now we just Giga Drain for our health back. Well, if he didn't end up switching into Spirister. Honestly though, from there, Magterra was able to finish this fight off in a couple of turns. And back to the PC you go, buddy. And thank God, as we found another Fire type. This time, Torchic. Worth noting, I found a Spearow before this, but Fearow doesn't actually have a custom sprite with Torterra, so this was our next encounter. I'll be honest, it's not going on the team, but hey, it's a cute fusion, I guess. From there, it was time to finally put an end to Team Rocket's nasty business. And in order to do that, I did bring some new and familiar faces. Pukuterra is here to die and innards out whatever kills it, as well as pain splitting. Forterra is here to be completely suicidal with Explosion, and Kabuterra, which has an amazing fusion by the way, is here to Leech Seed and maybe if he's lucky, Ice Beam. And with that, we take on Giovanni and pray that we can do this without losing anyone from our main team. So the big thing is to get Articuno out of here, so I went ahead and planted a Leech Seed on it first, and it immediately went for that Freeze Dry, destroying Kabuterra. Assuming Pukuterra goes last, I went for a nice Pain Split, but nobody really ended up attacking me that turn, so we had to try again. But Articuno shows no mercy the next turn and knocks out Pukuterra in one single hit, and Innards Out fires back hard with a big KO on Articuno. I thought Innards Out was like an aftermath, not counter. Holy shit, that was totally worth it. Now with Torterra out, he explodes for the sake of the team and does big damage to the remaining 2 birds. And now we just have to put faith in Pseudoterra to not die. Now, of course, Rock Slide is going to hit both birds, and they do have berries, so Zapdos did live. However, I think we got a crit on Moltres, although I doubt it mattered. And yeah, Pseudoterra had an easy cleanup, taking very little damage. Honestly, that Innards Out play was epic, and I didn't know the ability worked like that. You suck, Giovanni. You 3 did an amazing job. I'm gonna miss you, especially for Torterra. Now, Giovanni is a Ghost-type gym leader, which is pretty unique. And he starts off with the Silph Tom. Very dope design. Now, unfortunately, we did get Cute Charmed by this thing, and I don't have any Poison or Steel type moves with me right now. But he just went for a last resort. Weird. Eventually, this thing did die to a bunch of crunches, but then another potential Fairy type came out. Whimsalurk. Come on, Giovanni. You really think your team looks good? You just mixed a bunch of scary Pokemon with fairies. How is that menacing in any way? Luckily, this thing wasn't a Fairy type, so that was down easy, but then the real guns came out. Okay, I get it. You were just saving this one in the back, weren't you? Now, that's what I call menacing. Might have to do a spooky run for Halloween. Leave any spooky fusions down below. Now, this is still just an Electrode, so 2 Earthquakes would have done it, but then he switched. Oddly enough, into Shandiario, which is weak to it. Great fusion, though. Honestly, I think if Totodile here had Moxie as his ability, this fight would have been over a lot sooner. Mimeo did play rough us, almost KOing, but he just couldn't do it, and how did I know Giovanni was going to have at least one more Fairy type on his team? Well, Totodile, you honestly really showed out here in your only fight. Oh man, he almost fully sweeped Giovanni if it wasn't for that flinch on the second Dark Pulse. Oh man. Well, Torterra, do your thing. Now, if you remember, we caught a Larvitar way back, and since the level cap is finally above level 55, we can finally see what fusions we're working with. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. That is so sick. He's also got this one, but I think we can all agree the other one's better. And he happens to be a Grass Dark type, which is great as we definitely don't need any more Rock or Ground types. Although, now that I think of it, I need to give him Overgrow instead of Sandstream as his ability. This does mean I need to get rid of Santerra, but I think it's a fair trade-off. Now, I do feel kind of bad for Salterra here, so I led him against Blue, and he was actually doing the work. Nothing really put up a fight, and Blue had some interesting fusions to say the least. Although this was pretty neat, I'm not gonna lie. I did end up finding a Hitmonchan on the next route, and I just had to see what this turned into. Okay, that's actually awesome. Honestly, I think I might say goodbye to Salterra, as he's not really doing anything for the team. Oh wow. That's something. Okay, no, this is something. Poor Geodude, man. Man, these fusions are cursed before Victory Road. No, guys, I'm scared. This thing nearly destroyed me. If it wasn't for Sturdy, Pseudoterra would have been dead. Die. Yo, what is going on right now? That is cursed. We did make it through Victory Road unscathed, but I don't know if my pants made it unscathed. That was pretty frightening. Now, I do feel like we have a lot of Pokemon weak to fire or flying, so I'm actually going to bring Salterra back on the team, and this way we have Intimidate as well. Sorry, Torotar. So with that, we are ready to take on the league with our beautiful Torterra fusions. Starting with Lorelei, who is a fighting type master, and already that's pretty bad, so I switched into Torlurk on a Stomping Tantrum, and I started using Outrage, and this move and Thrash destroy Pokemon in these games. Luckily, it was a rock type, so Giga Drain can give us health back, and also on her 2 potions, we can get back to full HP. And on that last Outrage, we can take her out. On Psylade, I did end up switching, and thank Arceus I did, as this thing does indeed have Air Slash. Our Intimidate didn't really affect her until she used Close Combat, and she happened to be a bug type, which Flamethrower is super effective against. However, Salterra was looking in rough shape. Praying to God it goes for another Close Combat. I go into Torlurk, and Lorelei's dumbass did in fact do that. Phew. Now with no flinch on the Air Slash, a Shadow Punch finishes it off. Oh god, what the fuck? Depending on what moves this thing has, I'm in trouble, as a Sludge Bomb could do a ton, and so can a Hydro Pump. I did stay in, and she just went for Leaf Storm, but I mean, you never know. The good news is this harshly lowers her special attack. Bad news is she's part grass type. This is bad as I don't really have a switch. The only thing I could do is go into Torleon, but Ice Beam won't be super effective. So I risked another Leaf Storm, and Torlurk lived on 5 HP. You freaking legend. Now I went into Torleon on a Leaf Blade? Oh, that's not good. Well, at least we outsped and an Ice Beam KO'd from there. Now, Ferrochamp was out, and this thing's dynamic punch mopped me and confused me. Thankfully, Torleon did break through for some Giga Drain action, but we do not live another one. I did do a risky play again with Torlurk on a potential fighting type move, but unfortunately Lorelei had other plans. This would have been great as I could have Giga Drain KOing, but oh well. Now, the risky plays were not over as I did go into Torterra on a Meteor Mash, and just as expected, this thing has nothing to hit us with. Now, unfortunately, Feraligatr could have a water type move, so it's either Torterra's life or Torlurk's life. And to be honest, Torterra is extremely useful if we get lucky, so Torlurk, I'm sorry. Okay. Well, that works too. Yeah, this thing didn't have any other physical moves. Honestly, that was a tough first fight, and it only gets worse as Bruno is the complete opposite in this universe, being a fairy type master. And I led Hitmontera. Again. And to make matters worse, a water type was his lead. Something is definitely dying right now. I immediately switched into Torleon in case he had Ice Beam, but just a normal Hydro Pump was shown. With this we Giga Drained once, and then he switched taking big damage on Flyque. You idiot. He used one potion and then switched back into Millivoire on my Silph since rain was up, and I thought that would just kill the Mimikyu. But yeah, a couple more potions later, and that's done. Oh my god, this is hilarious. Bro, what the hell, Bruno? Unfortunately, Seafable did have Mega Horn, but it didn't kill us, and he only used it once, so that wasn't too tough, and this guy might be a water type master as well. Jeez. I was officially out of Giga Drains, plus he put us to sleep, so Torlurk took over on a Hydro Pump miss. He did have bounce though, so I went into Sudowoodo and doubled back into Torlurk to take a Hydro Pump. Thankfully, no more bounce shenanigans, but we didn't quite kill, and Flyque took a big Shadow Punch as I wanted to conserve Giga Drains. On top of that, it used Pain Split, which ended up leaving us super weak after a Dragon Rush. After that was out, Manwar came back out, and Torleon ended up just taking a bounce and finishing that. His final Pokemon was Spiritomb. As suspected, Torterra once again was able to clean up the mess everyone else made. Good job, buddy. Another fight with 0 casualties. Finally, Hitmontera is the correct choice against Agatha's rock types. Well, if she didn't lead a Gyarados fusion, that is. Come on, man. Honestly, Torleon was able to sweep her entire team thanks to some of them being quad affected to water, and by the end of it, she was so fed up with me that she decided to troll me a little. Fine, you got me. Did I really win here? Finally, Lance has accepted his destiny of being the world's greatest flying type master. But bro, Hitmontera isn't getting any action. Now, Magnadriel was a tough one as this thing had the move Endeavor, so Pseudoterra by the end of it was not able to fight at all. And the next Pokemon to come out was Metamence. That thing is sick, but Lance can't know I said that. Honestly, Pseudoterra just has to go down here, so I can go Pseudo on Pseudo. And this was the right choice as it was a Steel type and we ended up burning. So once more, and that's that. We're the better Pseudo. I knew it was right bringing you in, Salterra. Now thank god I didn't switch on Blazdactyl as Brave Bird destroyed us, but I do believe Salterra has to die here. Now looking back, I definitely should have stacked something else and then used Intimidate, but it is what it is. Thankfully, Lance is an idiot and only used Takedown, but we still have to deal with Garaments. Torleon was not living anything. The Hurricane is way too powerful, and guys, honestly, I think this is it. I was really hoping we didn't run into a Flying Expert, but here he is. And he didn't just have Hurricane, he had Hyper Beam and Flamethrower. Like, I really needed Pseudoterra for this guy specifically, but that lead he had was just too strong for anyone else to take on. Maybe Mence could have taken him on, but hindsight is 2020. I knew I needed something to take on flying types, and honestly, I don't know why I didn't give Hitmonchan Thunder Punch. That would have KO'd here since he missed a bunch. Oh damn, Torterra actually took down Salamence. But sorry buddy, there's no way you can clean up the mess I made. Oh, okay, wait. Maybe you can, Torterra. How the fuck? I also forgot to give my Pokemon Citrus Berries as I did have enough for this fight and Blue's fight. Well, at least we made it to Blue and we only have to hope he doesn't have a super effective... just my luck. Oh wow, I can't believe Torterra actually defeated this thing too. Wait, Torterra might actually be able to win this fight. Ah, fuck.